Hi, I'm George Markarus, founder of Whaam Concepts, a design company based in Cape Town, driven by a passion to create unique and unconventional environments that bring people and their brands together. I'm sitting with...
I'm Brett Ferreira. I'm the franchise and marketing executive at Motors Aftermarket Parts. So George and I have come together to kick off this conversation. We'd like to invite you all to be a part of it. Please let us know what your thoughts and opinions are on our views. If you've got anything to contribute, please feel welcome. We'd like to create more dialogue. When you have that connection with the customer and they actually identify with what you're trying to do, and when you're trying to actually uplift their lives and enrich their lives, and you can make that connection, that's when the sale is just part of a transaction that happens.
How important do you think in the modern day context, in the current context, how important is the ability to make a connection with an individual to that individual? So in this current context, so you spoke a lot about how much bombardment there is with media and space like that. How important as building a retail platform is it to make that connection to that individual?
I think it's absolutely critical, because as a consumer, you have so much choice in this day and age. If you think about, for instance, the automotive world, right, where I'm involved, you used to be able to go out and buy a car from 10 different manufacturers. Now you can go out and you can buy a car from 100 different manufacturers, right? Yeah. So you're spoiled for choice. You need to be able to make a connection that appeals to that individual. If you don't do that, then it just becomes an informative choice rather than an emotional choice. And we know that most of the choices that you make in your life, whether I'm going to buy a coffee now or a coffee later, or if I'm going to buy that toilet paper or that toilet paper, there's an emotional level to what makes your purchase decision. You need to nail down what that emotional connection is. Definitely. And drive that through with your customer.
Yeah, I've always kind of followed quite closely what an individual called Simon Sinek, marketing guru, speaks about brands, and he always says that brands speak a lot about who I am. Yeah. And that's part of the emotional connection that I love to get right in the retail space, is that as a consumer, I'm actually telling the world a lot more about who I am by the choices I've made within the brand sets that I've chosen as my sets. Mm-hmm. And how do you create those connections? How do you create those individual connections with the person that the individual says, this is actually speaks to me, this speaks to who I am, and this is what I actually want to represent by telling the world that I've chosen this specific brand to make as my purchasing choices.